Okay, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to American LFC. I am Nate. We're talking to my brother Eli today. We're talking everything Liverpool Football Club from the past week. Of course, that includes two games, one game from the Premier League and one game from the Europa League. On Thursday, LFC played at home, the Grand Old Stadium of Anfield, a French team called Toulouse. Toulouse from France. Eli, how were we feeling about this game?
Good. I felt confident going into it, and it turns out that confidence was not misplaced.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense. I mean, we are a former Champions League winning team. We've been to three Champions League finals in the last 6 years, I think. So playing a group stage game in the Europa League probably doesn't seem to be that huge of a contest for us, but there are no small games.
Yeah.
So, how did you feel about the first half of this game?
I mean, I thought it was great. It we spent the first couple weeks of the season bemoaning how slow starts had been, and it felt like we may have finally kind of gotten past that, because I felt like in the Toulouse game they were on it from the start. I mean, I think, yeah, the first goal is in the ninth minute.
Yeah, yeah, it was
So
interesting. Yeah, they definitely were off to the races at the beginning. You know, the wind was in their sails. I mean, Diogo Jota just like legitimately picks up the ball in their midfield and just like kind of walks it into the goal. Like
hmm
legitimately just runs past like five guys and decides to score. So that was a good way to start it off.
yeah,
They did. I will point out that although this was a drubbing, right, the end result of this was 5-1 to Liverpool. Um, there were a couple moments where you can see the frailties in the system
hmm
because of the personnel, right? Which is okay. So the one goal that they scored like 5-6 minutes after we scored our first goal. And the way that it happened was their six had some time on the ball and found an outlet pass, which broke our lines, right, um, into their like 10, basically.
hmm
And then that 10 just immediately like one touched it into the forward who was sprinting onto our half. And then he had a full breakaway of the entire half to just
hmm
run at Kelleher and put it away. And the thing is like, look, Luke Chambers, I believe, is Luke Chambers his name?
yep.
You know, the forward, it's Luke Chambers' position that he should be covering there. It's his first game, senior game, so, you know, you can't be too harsh on him. And watching back the highlights, Trent Alexander-Arnold was actually the person who kept him onside, so our
hmm
captain. So, look, goals happen. Opposition goals happen. But it definitely was interesting because it felt like it was a breakdown in the system, right? Teams are always going to be able, teams are always going to be able to break through the lines like that. That's just the way that the sport works. But yeah, it felt like maybe the six had too much time on the ball to find
Yeah.
the outlet. There were two passes that could have either been pressured or cut off in a better and more effective fashion so that Trent Alexander-Arnold wouldn't have had to even be concerned about keeping onsides a person that Luke Chambers wasn't covering. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are the ways at least that's the way that I'm looking at the game, right? Which is that, look, and that was arguably the only moments that they had in the first half. I mean, we'll get to it later probably, or maybe we'll breeze through this. I don't know. They did have like a pretty strong surge in the like last 5 minutes of actual regular time, where they were like putting some more pressure on us, trying to notch something back. But it just it feels like this game is something that we could learn from, right? Because that's the thing that champions do, is that they take the opportunity to learn from shortcomings. And we played an incredible game. We played the hell out of them, right? So it's like, but we're not going to come up against Toulouse in the Premier League. We won't. Like, Sheffield United is better than Toulouse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, the thing is, like, great, pat on the back, but, like, how can we be better? And I think that was just the one thing that I observed as an overall team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think if, say, that's Andy Robertson or even Tamikis that is out of position that leads to that goal, that's, like, one thing, right? But Luke Chambers is 19. This is what, his second senior game, his first start in the Europa League, you know? So if anything, it's a good lesson for him. I don't think it's like, oh, the system is broken, we got to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But you know,
I'm not even sure that it's necessarily his fault. Apologies for cutting you off. I'm not even sure that it is his fault. I'm saying, and it's not the system. It's just it was just a moment of pressure, right? Which is like where we were falling short last season, which is that our midfield wasn't putting on enough pressure in their defensive thirds when they were first recovering the ball.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, and so this kind of segues into
Sorry, give me 1 second, would you?
Yeah.
I forgot to close the door so Charlie wouldn't come and visit.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, so this is a great segue onto
to basically talk about kind of how Indo is coming along in what was otherwise, you know, I think a pretty solid performance for him, right? He's still adjusting. He's getting better, I think, every game. And it's also, there's a lot of like, you know, knocking the cobwebs out for Ryan Gravenberch too, you know, that he's already played more this season than he did all of the last at Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I mean, how many goals does he have already this season?
Right, exactly. 3 after this, spoiler alert.
Yeah. So
and a couple of assists. So, you know, I think I've seen multiple things on social media over the last week about how we absolutely fleeced Bayern Munich for a fantastic talent.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I'm not sure who actually got named man of the match, but
it was Gravenberch for the Toulouse game.
It was. Okay, great. And I think that says something considering he came off in the 65th minute.
Yeah.
So, should we just roll through these goals really quickly?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because I think there's more to talk about in the Nottingham game. Because, again, we steamrolled a mid-level French team, which, as you previously mentioned, you know, isn't something to maybe get too excited about. So, yeah, Toulouse scores in the 16th, but then Indo scores in the 30th off just a beautiful header, right? Just like a Steven Gerrard-esque, I'm going to put this in the corner from out here.
Yeah, he did a great job. I mean, it's all Trent, really. You know?
Well, and I had seen the commentary on that was like Indo puts even more power behind the header than it's necessarily coming in from Trent. Trent does hit a pinpoint pass, but then Indo does generate additional power to get it to where it needs to go, right?
Totally.
And then 4 minutes later, Chaos himself scores a goal.
Yeah, I mean, we've had so many of his goals already this season. It's almost hard to remember which one's which.
Especially with what happened in the second half, right? That's the one that sticks out.
Yeah, exactly. This one he buries in the top netting from about 3-4 yards out.
Are you sure you're not confusing the one with Nottingham? That Soboslai had the assist on?
No. No, I don't. I am remembering that goal. No, this goal is literally he gets the ball up at the corner of the 6 off of, I think, Jota, plays it
Yeah.
in, and the goalkeeper starts to come out and just shoots it right, basically like from 3 yards out, just like
Yeah.
straight up to the top
Yeah.
of the box.
Okay. Okay.
Left-footed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's great. He's gaining confidence.
Oh yeah.
He's gaining confidence.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And so
yeah.
that's what in the 34th minute. So we ride out the rest of that half pretty well.
I mean, not even right out. We were presenting constant pressure on
Right.
them.
So
You know what I mean?
hold on. Let's look at the first half stats quick. So 64% possession, 1.56 expected goals, 10 shots, 5 on target, 3 big chances created. So we scored all 3 of those. 90% pass accuracy. Yeah, that's pretty dominant.
Yeah, and arguably, there are certainly 3 or 4 players on that starting 11 that would make your game day squad in a Premier League game. But there are also many players that would not.
Right. Well,
So that's something to
let's
think
look
about,
at the match ratings quick for the starting lineup, right? Jota is at 8.1, Nunez at 8.5, Elliott at 8.1, Gravenberch at 8.8, Indo 8.6, Curtis Jones is 7.9. So he's the outlier of
Yeah,
that,
by
you
a
know,
website's 0.1%.
Yeah,
0.1 off.
0.2%, yeah.
Yeah.
Trent's an 8.3, Gomez is 8.7, Joel Matip is 6.8, and Chambers 6.2.
Yeah, look, you could see Chambers' youth, inexperience, and that's fine. That's to be expected. I think it's great. It's incredible that it's like that we're talking about Ryan Gravenberch, who is coming into his own. We're talking about just kicking off cobwebs, right? But this dude's 21. You know what I mean?
Right.
Soboslai's 22. Nunez is like 24. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 24. Like, these are really, really good players. They're setting themselves up for a good future here. So I
Right.
feel like we're doing pretty well. Anyway, second half, we dominated second half as well, I would assume.
Yeah, so possession is 61%. Excuse me. 10 shots, 4 on target, 2 big chances created, 87% passing. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we scored both big chances. I mean, obviously, the thing that you were talking about is in the 65th minute, Darwin Nunez gets a breakaway ball, through ball, beats the entire team at a dead sprint. Basically does a Ronaldinho to get around this last defender, totally walks around the goalkeeper, and then pegs it at the crossbar, at
The near post.
The near
Yeah.
post, to which Gravenberch gets the rebound and slots it away. But them's the breaks, friend.
Yeah.
He did all the hard work, and Gravenberch reaped the rewards. But look, I think it's great for both of them.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I wouldn't argue that either of them are dead, knocked on starters at every weekend. But there's an argument for both of them to be played.
Right. Yeah.
Why did Mo Salah come in on this game? Just to get minutes, maybe?
Set a record. He is now the highest scoring EPL player in the Champions League.
I guess that's probably also.
Or I mean in Europe. Sorry,
Europe,
correction.
yeah.
In Europe.
Yeah. Didn't it also make him surpass Gerard's? Didn't he officially pass
Gerard's goals?
record? Or
No.
something. I thought it was like overall. I'm interested. Also, we're going to come to Nottingham Forest game here in a second, but I'm interested because I rewatched the replay, and the announcer did say that Mo was on a 13-game Anfield. It's about games at Anfield, right?
Yeah. Well, it is now.
Right.
He had so many going. that
Okay, copy, gotcha.
I think it's now
Okay.
14 games at Anfield, right?
Yeah, right. With a with a goal contribution, 14 games in a row at Anfield. Um, all right, yeah. I mean, Mo Salah comes in, stretches his legs for like 10 or 15 minutes, gets a goal, obviously.
Yeah.
And then we walk away. It's gonna be super interesting to see how Klopp plays the rest of these group stages. You know, I mean, this is 3 games, right? We've won all 3 games.
Yeah, we've made it through in the 3 games, so now it's, I would say, chop and change it and get as many kids as you can. You know, because what's his name? Scanlon comes on. McConnell comes on.
He almost had a disaster. He almost gave away a goal.
Well, I mean, that's why you bring him on when you're up 4-1. You know.
No, exactly. No, I mean, look, they have to they have to do it at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not everybody can be Trent Alexander-Arnold to come on for his first game against Man United.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
Wow.
Or maybe one of his first games, very early on.
Yeah.
Anything you want to wrap up this game? Because I think you really want to get into the meat of the weekend, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the Toulouse game was overall positives, right? I'd say there's far more things to say we did well than we have so far this season, I think. Especially with, you know, a changed lineup. You got a 19-year-old at left back, and Curtis hadn't, I guess he played the week before in Europe, but you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, he's playing the Thursdays, and everybody else is playing the weekends. You know what I mean? He'll finally be eligible for this coming week for
Yeah.
the Premier League game.
And our center back partnership was Matip and Gomez, which is probably what 3 and 4 in the pecking order, maybe.
Certainly.
So,
yeah.
you know, it's good that we have kind of the rotation policy we do to keep everyone happy and match
And
fit
playing games, yeah.
and playing games. You know, so I think it was good. I honestly I was real happy with it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it live. I did see the score updates coming through on my watch while I was subbing.
Yeah.
But then was able to
It was
get
a good
home
game.
and watch the game. So
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good game. And agreed. Yeah, it's good to be getting these players consistent minutes in the positions with the system that they're going to be playing. Because the truth is that we'll need them.
yeah,
As the season goes on, it's like
Yeah.
we'll need them. So, shall we move on to this weekend, the second game of the week?
the second game of the week. Let's do it. Save the best for last.
Versus Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Again at Anfield. Couple sweet games at Anfield.
So
Yeah.
I guess the things right off the bat for me are we got our new midfield on show, right? Because it's Gravenberch, McAllister, and Soboslai.
Yeah.
And, you know, Luis Diaz probably would have played, but unfortunately that wasn't going to be an option with all that's going on in his world right now. So we had Jota, Nunez, and Salah up front, which is still, as we've talked about so far this season, is the dynamism of our attacking options really makes it difficult for our opponents to, A, either plan for what we're going to bring, or B, even react to what's going on as the game progresses.
Yeah, totally. I mean, not to jump ahead, but the idea, like, we all know, like, the fact is, like, later in the game, Klopp likes to make substitutions and changes, as all managers do. Like, having the privilege of now bringing Gakpo on after injury, it's like we're starting with Diogo Jota, Darwin Nunez, and Mo Salah as the starting 3, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you can bring on Gakpo is incredible, because the thing is, he's a completely different type of player than Darwin or Jota. Just a lot of headaches. Yeah. Our front line is very flexible, so. But that's for later discussions.
Yeah. So how did you feel this game started?
I feel like it started well, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember back. I don't think Allison did anything. Did he? think,
Hold on. So they did not register a shot on target in the first half.
yeah. I think their first shot on target came in like the 92nd minute.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to answer that question, it went really well.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
the
I
fact that
mean,
we're
because
playing
we've
Premier
been
League opposition.
we've been giving them sticks so far this season about, it being slow. It takes them, 25, 30 minutes to even realize they're playing a game of football. So it feels like, and I remember saying at that point, like, had read some stuff where it's like, hey, this is an okay problem to have at this point of the season. If it persists another month, that's a different problem set. But they really have kind of come around, and they're now clicking from the start as they get more training together. And again, it's the midfield that I'm excited about. And we'll get to Klopp's comments about McAllister being in the six, right? And
Yeah.
how the persistence of keeping that going is paying off now, because McAllister had a great game at the six.
Yeah.
One of his ball recoveries leads to the first goal. He picks up the ball almost right at the half, and then quickly, I think, plays it out to Salah or
Yeah.
Soboslai, and then forward to Salah, and then it's in the back of the net in like 4 seconds from him picking it up.
Yeah, I believe that goal is Nunez. That Salah slips Nunez in for a through ball around the 18, and he fires one across to the far post, and the goalkeeper couldn't, parries it away right into Jota's path. If I
Oh,
remember
that's right.
correctly.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, let's talk about the midfield. Look, I agree with you. I wasn't that worried about it. It was just somewhat annoying that it became a consistent theme that we were really, really, really slow out of the blocks for the first 10 games of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But I always knew, just like you knew, that was not going to be a persistent problem. Like last season when we were like analyzing what we were going through, we were like looking at our team, consistent problems were the fact that the midfield didn't have legs or weren't fast enough or couldn't close down the space quick enough. That's like a personnel issue. Like
Mm-hmm.
having the mentality or the heart to come out strong in the first couple of minutes, that's just up here. That doesn't have anything, because they would grow into the game, right? And that 30 minutes in the game, then they would be playing much better football. So that's all about just like getting up to speed, rinse and repeat, and feeling comfortable in all of the things that you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
just knowing that the moment that the ball kicks off, you're where you're supposed to be, right?
Right.
So that was always gonna come good. You know what I mean? Plus, also preseason was settling in and all that sort of stuff, and people are probably finding their fitness now.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So yeah, it was nice to see us come out of the blocks, actually started commanding and actually dictating the pace of play for this game. And yeah, it's interesting. I know that McAllister had an incredible game. I know that we're going to talk about that later. I'm still just hoping for a 6. I know in January, there's like a lot of rumors about all that. And the only reason that I say that is because McAllister is so good as an 8 going up to 10 that I'm like, man, it would be really good. He's obviously becoming great at the 6.
Right. And I think, I don't know, maybe it is the time to touch on Klopp's comments, but talking about why he prefers to have an attack-minded person in that position, as Trent moves in to, the box, so it's, 2 6s and 2 8s, is that it increases their passing options, right? Because both McAllister and Trent can distribute the ball really well and pick apart a defense. And
Yeah.
so being able to do that from either side of the field with an offensive mind, with 2 offensive minded 6s, basically, again, it's just creating additional problems for your opponent to have to deal with. And
Yeah.
The other thing is talking about the defensive side of his stuff is really picking up too in the last couple games, and he's getting better in that on the defensive side of things. Basically, he's just responding really well to what Klopp or whoever in the coaching staff is, drilling into him about, hey, how this is how you need to do this part of the game.
Yeah, totally. Agreed. Yeah, that all makes sense. This all makes sense. I just think that it will work against Nottingham Forest. I'm interested to see how it goes against City.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
But
that game's also another 5-6 games away, 4 or 5 games before we got to play City, because it's the weekend before we're there.
I don't even mean City specifically. I just mean the idea of not Nottingham Forest. Because the premise is based on the idea of having a 6 that's like very flexible, available for passes, another outlet, right? But that's because Nottingham Forest is going to try and sit in and hit us back on transition. So
yeah,
the number 6 doesn't need.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I did have that in my handwritten notes when I started to rewatch the game today. Is that Nottingham set up incredibly defensively, right? And who can blame them when you're coming to Anfield and Liverpool's red hot,
Yeah. And that's going to be a very common game plan for people coming to Anfield. Even people play like the teams from the bottom half. That's going to be their strategy, right? Because they know they can. First of all, they know they can do it because we've been giving up goals left and right in the first 10 minutes of the first 10 games of the season. So they're going to always try and work on the left-hand side, going down the left side on the break, trying to get the ball in transition to move through the lines past Trent Alexander-Arnold before he can get back into position, move Konate out of position, and then cross it into just like Spurs did for Son's first goal.
Yeah.
Right? But so they'll always try that. My thing is that it's like I'm just interested to see when we are playing Arsenal, when we are playing City, when we are playing those are the only 2 other good teams in the league. But once we play those 2 people, it'll be interesting to see what happens, right? Because the truth is that it's not about us just maintaining possession and having options to pass out. It's about disrupting their play as well. Mm-hmm, and McAllister might be learning the position, but the truth is that's just not the thing that he's great at. And that's okay. I think it's okay. I just think the thing is that he's not a destroyer.
Well, I mean, you don't have to be a destroyer to know when to put in a well-timed tackle or make an interception,
Yeah.
I think there's different ways to play that position. It's not like Andre Pirlo was a destroyer and he's probably one of the best 6s of, the century.
Yeah, but he was sitting in with a double pivot with Pogba, who could just take the ball and run, right? He used his athleticism to get around the field, right? Pirlo was just pinging balls around like a quarterback. Pogba would be all over the place. I mean, when Juventus was good, I'm saying. And also, Serie A didn't have a Pep City side in it. So it's like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the tactical side of it can be taught. And the dude's a professional athlete who's been playing for a very long time.
Yeah.
So we're already seeing the benefits of the coaching that he's getting just in the improvements he's made in a few weeks,
Yeah. So are you saying, do you see McAllister as our long-term 6?
Not past this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's the 6 for the entire season, him and Endo.
Okay. You don't think we'll try and get Andre from Brazil in January?
I mean, I don't want to write it off because I think that would be exciting. But, I also saw a comment that was like, Thiago will be good by Christmas and will be a massive part of the second half of the season.
I'm sure he will be a massive part of the second half of the season. At the 6, I mean, I guess that's the only position he's going to play.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if he wants regular game time, but again, he's another one he's been around for a super long time and played for some great teams, so he should just have the wherewithal and the intelligence to be able to pick up that position. Maybe not be the big physicality destroyer that you're talking about, but at least be able to put himself in positions where he doesn't need to have that physicality. He can play smarter, not stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's also sort of been... It's not the same at all when he was playing on the left side of the 3, but it's not that different from the positions that he was picking up the back half of last season. You know, he would always drop back to pick up the ball, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's not that far off of where he was finding love anyway. I mean, the truth is, like, I think when we get into the thick of it at the end of the season, if Thiago is readily available, my prediction is that he's coming in at 70 minutes to take McAllister off when we're up two goals, right?
Yeah.
Because then it's about just pace, control, calm, you know, or the other option is if we just need another key to try and unlock something that wasn't working.
Right.
You know. So okay, so you say McAllister for president at number 6. Okay.
Yep. 4 more
good.
years.
Okay, 4 more years. Okay, great. How did we get here, by the way? What were we talking about?
We were talking about how, well, it started a long time ago about how they'd actually started on the front foot.
Yes.
And we were talking about our new midfield 3 here, our 3, early 20 guys that we brought in. Obviously Catherine isn't super interested, but I was waxing lyrical about the sheer talent we have under the age of 24. It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm sure that she was really, really jazzed about that conversation.
Yeah. But kind of piggybacking on that, though, if we can just continue our sidebar here, is you and I were talking about Harvey Elliott over the week.
Yeah.
I think people very often forget that he is 20 years old. You know? How old was Mo Salah when we picked him up? 25, 26?
Probably about that age, yeah.
You know? So, again, I think Harvey kind of suffers from the same thing that Curtis Jones does, is that we've watched the growing pains. And some of them were pretty painful, right? And he was also, trying to cover for players that were probably past their prime in a system that they weren't ready for or necessarily had been trained to be successful in. And the whole thing kind of, didn't go great last year.
No, definitely not. But also don't forget that Harvey Elliott started the first 20 Premier League games last season.
Yeah.
He started every game.
Yeah.
So Klopp has faith in him, and that was when he was 19. So choosing him frequently over Jordan Henderson. So Klopp has faith in him. I have faith in him. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. I'm not stressed at all about any growing pains that he's had. Sometimes he seems, and this is categorizing him from last season, not this year at all. Sometimes he seems to go missing in some games and stuff like that. But again, I don't think that I've seen any of that this season. I will say, if I were to be critical, I think the thing is, if he could just get, 5 goals a season into his game, it would be incredible. You know what I mean? If he can add some goals. But again, what you were saying is that he's 20.
Yeah. He's got 5-6 years to get to the point where we would even think about expecting contributions at a fraction of what Mo Salah did.
Right, but let's be clear. He's not Mo Salah. He is not a winger.
Yeah, no,
he
no,
would
no.
not
Well,
be able to play that position.
You don't think he's gonna? You don't think his long-term plan is that right wing?
I don't think he's fast enough to play that position.
Oh, okay.
I think that he takes up the positions that he works with. Like he plays. He does what Szoboszlai does. He takes up those positions. He's like the right-sided 8 that turns into a 10.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the thing is, like, I think it'll be interesting to see, just like we have Gravenberch, just like we'll have McAllister, if we do get, if McAllister ever does end up going up to an 8, if there's a more dedicated 6 that we end up having, then it would be Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Harvey Elliott, 4 people swapping for 2, possibly the 6, right? So you have 4 people swapping for 3, really, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a second 6, which I think feels like a pretty functional midfield. Because the truth is that last season, we're so used to having midfielders that are unavailable to play that just the fact that we have guys that are staying healthy and can play is so mind-boggling to us. You know what I mean? It's like the idea that we just said that I just suggested 4 midfielders for 2 positions. That would have been laughable last year.
Yeah.
We had 9 midfielders for 3 positions, and we could barely fill the 3 positions.
Yeah, we had to throw poor Stefan Bajcetic in the deep end.
Right, and yes. Oh, and also, thank you for bringing him up. We haven't even spoken about him. When he gets back up, also young, also like 19.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 19, 20, yeah.
Incredible last season. Hopefully he can get over some of his injuries. I mean, that's to be expected with a young player. Not a big deal. Really great kid. I mean, he could be incredible to take up that position for the 6 too. But I also remember him coming in at some point this season and playing the inverted.
Yeah, he was the right back. Yeah, in a Europa League game.
Yeah. So, hopefully he can get back soon too. And I think the moral of the story is that our midfield is better than it once was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably
the best we have since Gini Wijnaldum left.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that there is a reasonable argument to say, with a very, very small sample size, that our midfield could be better than what did they call it? The Brexit midfield?
Is that what it was? Yeah.
I can't remember, but it would have been like, okay, Wijnaldum, Henderson, and Fabinho, right?
Yeah.
That would be like our starting midfield for the year we won. Would you take any of those? Would you take that midfield 3 over Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and McAllister?
Nope,
You
never.
can you just take 3 and 3. You can't substitute anybody.
Yep.
Okay, so you're taking the midfield that we have over the midfield that we won the league with.
Yes.
I think I would do the same.
I mean,
I do miss Fabinho a little bit, but
Fabinho at his
were
peak,
gone.
right? Yeah, but he.
Yeah, I'm talking about when we won the league, when he was like at his best, he was unplayable. He was the lighthouse, right? He was stopping everything.
Yeah.
That player doesn't exist anymore.
No.
But, he does. His name's Rodri, and he plays for Man City.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think I would take the midfield that we have right now, these 3 players, over those.
Yeah.
And just the only thing that they had on the new group, I think, was time in the system.
Yeah.
I think this time next year, things are going to be very impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Wow, we got way off.
We got way
track
off.
there.
Okay,
we got
so
way into the weeds.
That's okay.
That's what this podcast is about, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Let us know how badly we got into the weeds in the comments below. Like, give us a rating from tall grass to pond to just on the edge of the fairway.
Yeah. Okay, so getting back on track here. So 4 minutes after Jota scores, Darwin Nunez does it again, right?
Also, it's Sly.
It is, right? Spoiler alert, Soboslai was man of the match. 2 assists.
Yeah, rightfully so. 2 assists. And truthfully, he also made the pass to Mo Salah to get the ball to basically to Darwin for the Diogo shot. I know it's very far away, but it was like part of his action that made it happen.
Yeah. I mean, he was a key part of that passing sequence. Yeah,
man.
I mean,
I can't. I literally can't say enough about him because the thing is, like, I'm gushing and blushing about the idea of it. Is like, he is incredible.
Yeah,
he's like legitimately incredible.
Yeah,
and I know that I said this before because I watched some of his Hungary stuff, and it's like I think he's still got levels.
Yeah,
because he doesn't play quite with the freedom with us that he does with Hungary. And I think that if that's something that Klopp wants, if that will help the team, and I don't know that it necessarily is, but if he gets to a place to play with that freedom, he's nearly unstoppable as it is now. He's a tremendous player.
Yeah, just so excited.
Yeah. I mean, the realistically, this game was dead and buried after the 35th minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Nottingham had less than 5 total chances?
Yeah.
Let's go. They had 9 total shots, 1 on target.
Yeah. And the one on target was kind of like I think literally they called the game when the ball was in Allison's hands. Like it was kind of like a roller across the grass to the near post. And he picked it up, and then they blew the whistle, and it was like, okay, that counted as a shot on target.
Yeah.
They did hit the crossbar, though. That doesn't mean that's something. They did hit the crossbar, I remember, on the underside of the crossbar. So they almost, but it was after we had 3 goals. They almost pulled one back, but
I mean,
too little, too late.
Yeah. I mean, let's take the positives here. Another clean sheet.
Yep.
For Allison. That's great.
Yep.
I thought the defense looked much better. I think Gravenberch probably isn't to the point where we can expect consistent 2-3 games in a week. But again, he was semi-retired for a year at at Bayern Munich. So
yeah, look, it wasn't his strongest performance, having just come off of a man of the match winning performance on Thursday, and I don't think he's 21 and he's new to the league, and this is his first season with us, and it's less than 12 games, 13 games in the season. I don't think anybody could be angry or disappointed in the fact that he might disappear a little bit right now. I think it's fine.
Yeah,
he's figuring it out.
Yeah,
but you're right. You said it earlier in the podcast. It's like you're absolutely right. It's just like, what was Tuchel thinking? I mean, the answer is that they're playing with 2 midfielders, right? They were playing a 4-2-3-1, right? And that they were using Kimmich and Goretzka as their 6s or whatever, and that they just clearly didn't see what Gravenberch's skill set could help them, right? Because they're probably playing Sané and who's that other guy? Super fast guy on the right. Either way, he's not a winger, right? Like the thing is, he's not a winger.
Coleman, right? Kingsley Coleman.
Yeah, Coleman, and there's another guy too that I can't think of. Now they got Harry Kane, so he's not playing up front. You know what I mean? Like the thing is, I guess I understand that that's a personnel issue for Bayern Munich, which is that he's not actually great at any of the positions that they operate in, right? The thing that he's doing really well for us is playing an 8 that pushes into a 10. They don't have that.
Right.
So their
Yeah.
loss, our gain.
Big time.
Sorry, Munich.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
he's
not
gonna.
sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's gonna look. He came off into the second half, and that's okay. It wasn't a great showing, but
Yeah, I
like we
mean,
said,
I don't. It wasn't a great showing, but I don't remember him making any costly mistakes either. So
no, not at all.
while it was not a great day at the office, it wasn't a bad one by any means either.
No, certainly not. And the only reason I think anybody would say, myself included, was that it wasn't a great day at the office is because he was just coming off of the fact that he was the man of the match in the previous game. That's
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
only reason. If it was just two equally consistent games of what he did at Forest, you'd be like, yeah, he's coming along.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Dominic Soboslai gets his second assist by Mo Salah scoring it in the 77th minute. What was their goalkeeper doing?
I have no idea. I was watching it on my phone on the way home from vacation, and I just remember laughing and Catherine being like, "What?" I'm like, "Their goalie just gifted us a goal because he was, 25, 30 yards out, missed his header, shoulder. I don't even know what he was trying to do. And Mo gets a long-range tap in."
Yeah, I don't know what the plan was or what the thought process was there. Was it one of those things that he forgot he could use his hands that far out or something? Because he wasn't even close to getting a header. Like it was one of the worst mistimed, misjudged headers of all time, or he legitimately was like, because he swung his hand at it, he just didn't hit it. So he was
I don't remember that. Okay.
He was willing to take the red card for it. Yeah, he just missed it.
Man,
indeed. Either way, Mo Salah, goal. Anfield, 14 games.
yeah.
Impressive stuff. Is there anything else you want to talk about at all about this game? I mean,
Man, I don't think so. We look at the overall possession. We had 73% of the possession for the game.
yeah, exactly.
654 passes, completed 90% of those, versus Nottingham having 27% possession and only attempting 193 passes and completing 73% of those.
Right,
Again,
exactly.
Nottingham, who is, they're 5 points out of the relegation zone. They're currently in 16th. But, I mean, we have traditionally had more problems with teams in that part of the table than we have with teams in our part of the table. So,
This is progress. This is what
Yeah.
progress looks like. No, agreed.
What's the intro to Welcome to Wrexham? Don't forget to sing when you win.
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah, this is a huge deal for us. I agree with you. Like our biggest problems last season were dealing with the teams that were in the lower half of the table. We just didn't show up for some reason. This season, it seems like we're showing up, so that's positive.
It seems with the refresh, specifically in the midfield, which is such a high intensity, high demanding, set of positions, and the way Klopp plays, is that refresh has reinvigorated the entire team. They all believe again, and Klopp has even said that he feels refreshed and is ready to go again. So it's like, man, is Liverpool 2.0 going to be even better than, the team that lost to City by a point twice and went to the Champions League final 3 times and won how many trophies?
I mean, we'll see. We'll see if the rejuvenation lasts long enough for Klopp to sign up one more extension. Because the thing is like, After this season, we've got 2 full seasons with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, you'd really want 4, right? Because the thing is that he's like, because this one doesn't count, right? Because we're not even in the Champions League, so you kind of want the chance to like get back there once, at least twice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That would be the hope. So, I think there are a couple things to navigate personnel-wise if we're talking about the future of the club. I think this refresh has been arguably the best set of signings that we've seen in one window since Van Dijk and Allison came in.
Mm-hmm.
They came in different windows, though, right? January, we got Van Dijk. The following summer, we got Allison.
Ooh, that sounds right.
Right. So that was 2 windows. 2 purchases over 2 windows. I don't think there has been a better single window since we've been Liverpool fans.
Who came in with Xabi Alonso? There was like 4 of them that summer.
Mascherano.
Yep. Okay. So was Torres? No, Torres came a year or 2 later.
But still, I just remember the picture of Mascherano and Alonso together. I don't remember the other people that came in. So I mean, we'll have to take a look, but we'll see. They also stayed for like not that long.
No. It couldn't have been Xabi Alonso and Mascherano because Xabi Alonso was gone by the time Mascherano got there. Because Mascherano didn't play in 05, and Xabi Alonso certainly did. Look it up quick.
Okay, so Alonso signed August 20th, 2004. Maybe when did Mascherano sign?
2008? 2009 maybe?
$2008.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of that he got signed with then?
Who, Xabi Alonso?
Yeah, both of them got signed with somebody else. I remember their...
So it's basically is this the better window or the first summer that Rafa had, where Xabi Alonso and the other Spaniards came in?
Garcia.
That's it. Yep.
This doesn't feel like that's even close to this.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Xabi Alonso and Luis Garcia versus
Yeah, these 4.
these 4.
Yeah.
Oh man, sorry. As I was scrolling through here, a picture of Romeo Lavia with a Liverpool crest came up, obviously from when we were linked to him. I will say that this seems like it's the best summer that we had for signings. We did get egg on our face and looked quite silly in the transfer window, but we went for it, and I think we came out winners in the transfer, to be honest.
Yeah. Especially with how things are going at Chelsea and all the money they spent.
Oh my God, yeah, what a nightmare. Also, United is falling apart. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see Spurs fall apart.
Yep.
Which I think will happen. I just cannot see this lasting for another 20 plus games.
Well, I was talking to a Spurs fan that teaches at the high school, and he was just basically bemoaning their depth. He's like, the longer this goes, the harder it's going to be to maintain because we just don't have the depth to keep going.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, okay, what happens if Son is out for a couple of games?
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that about any team, though. You know what I mean? I mean, besides City, like they have everybody. Like if Mo Salah, we drop Mo Salah for a couple of games, you're like, oh, what does Liverpool do? We'd probably be fine.
Yeah. I think we'd be fine.
Madison
Jota
goes
on the
down
right.
for. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be fine. Doak.
Doak, yeah. Ben Doak.
Okay, enough talk about other teams that are definitely going to do worse than us at the end of the season.
Yeah.
If there's nothing else that we should discuss about this week, we should sign off, I suppose.
I suppose so. We got sidetracked quite a bit, but that's okay.
Hey, look, here's the deal. Sometimes we've got outlines. Sometimes it's free-flowing. Sometimes we get sidetracked. That's the point of American LFC.
Yeah. Just to talk all things Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to sign off from here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with us. It's been 56 minutes of absolute joy. Let us know in the comments below if you felt like we were too wandering or if you do want us to create a very, very specific outline. I like jazz, the free flow jazz myself, but let us know below. Tell us what was the best transfer window that you feel like you've experienced as being a Liverpool fan, and who did Mascherano sign with? Suarez? Is that what it was?
No, he even came later.
All right. Well, we're just reminiscing about old photos of people holding up scarves at Anfield.
Yep.
So, by this point, have a great night. Eli, it was a pleasure chatting with you, as always, brother.
Thank you. You as well.